All right, next up we are going to have an awesome panel of young activists. These are Mia Perales, uh, Evalina Sain, and Jacki Petrow. Mia Perales is a sophomore environmental engineering student at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. She is also minoring in political science. Currently, Mia serves as a sustainability ambassador for the Office of Sustainability at UNL and the outreach liaison for Sustain UNL. Mia has been active in lobbying efforts for environmental legislation, both locally and nationally, with the Citizens Climate Lobby Organization. In 2023, Mia was awarded the Friends of the Earth Youth Award and the Sierra Club Youth Leadership Award. Then Evalina Sain is a senior at Omaha Central High School. She serves as the executive director of the Students for Sustainability, a regional cohort of environmentally motivated high school students with an extensive network of over 15 community organizations. She founded the Central High Green Team, which aims to normalize sustainability practices within the largest school in Nebraska. She's an intern with Nebraska Conservation Voters, prioritizing the election of candidates who advocate for sustainable policies. She has partnered with Ormentine Lab in Florida to conduct research on atmospheric nitrogen dioxide levels in North Omaha. In the future, she plans to pursue environmental and sustainability studies on the pre-law track. And then finally, we have Jacki Petrow, is a first-year student majoring in environmental studies and political science at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Jacki has experience starting and running a high school composting program, as well as staying involved with government and lobbying for environmental causes. So we have an awesome panel. Let's hear it for them.
Hi, good morning, everybody. So I'll start just a little bit to further my introduction. My name is Mia Perales, and I'm a sophomore environmental engineering student. I'm born and raised in Nebraska. I grew up in South Omaha, which is a predominantly Hispanic community, and I now live in Lincoln because I go to the university.
My name is Jacki Petrow. I grew up in Bellevue, Nebraska, and I was involved there with Omaha Students for Sustainability as well as my high school, which was Sustain Bell West. And then now I am a freshman here at the University of Nebraska at Lincoln. I'm majoring in environmental studies and political science.
Hi everyone, my name is Evalina Sain. I am a senior at Omaha Central High School, so I'll be going to college next year. I'm hopefully majoring in environmental studies, and I also want to explore public policy, so hopefully double majoring on the pre-law track. Super excited to be here today with all of you. I'm so glad you're all passionate about climate change in your own ways. I think we can all just start by discussing how we first became involved in environmentalism. So I found the issue of climate change so fascinating because of its ubiquity. I think climate change is unique in the fact that it affects everyone everywhere. Like, it is literally our future. Everything in the future will be determined by the environment. And I think that's so unique because it transcends polarization on so many levels. It affects every community, every political party, everywhere. And so I found that really unique because you can really engage and connect with everyone through the issue of climate change. And it's interesting because climate change actually wasn't even a thing per se until the 1960s. So this is a very, very emerging field. And so the fact that it will be so integral in our future is unique and exciting and honestly a little bit scary. But I think combining all those factors, it just makes for this really invigorating atmosphere, like, so we can host events like these and all connect on this subject. But yes.
I became involved in environmental activism probably around my sophomore year of high school. Before that, I grew up like camping, hiking, spending time in the outdoors, and so getting involved felt pretty meaningful. in addition, like I remember just as a kid seeing climate change as like this like huge issue, and it seems like really overwhelming. And so honestly, to an extent to lessen like climate anxieties and feelings like that, really just like diving in and learning about solutions that we can tackle day to day has really helped that. Yeah, so my sophomore year, I wrote an article for our school newspaper about the impacts of climate change on Nebraska, and it kind of just got me involved with getting to know people that were like actually doing something about it, because before then I just didn't have any knowledge. And so I kind of learned a lot about what will happen in Nebraska, and I got to know some of the people in the field and learned about different organizations and what they were doing to counteract these effects. And so that really just it made me feel like there was something feasible that I could do, that I could tackle, and I could like make a difference and not. I didn't have to like sit back just because this was a huge issue.
So for me, I grew up in an area where there was a lot of pollution every day. There's a meatpacking plant in my neighborhood. And so growing up, seeing all the pollution that comes from it, and then as I got older, I learned the environmental impacts of the wastewater and the air pollution. That was something that it really sparked my desire to want to do something for pollution and for climate change to really fight those causes. Because it's so important to me. I see that in my community, in the Hispanic community. I see, a lot of health diseases. I see a lot of disparities, people not knowing the solutions, not knowing the way that climate change is so interconnected. So that's what really inspired me to get involved. In high school, I joined the Students for Sustainability. I was an executive director as well. That's kind of how we all know each other, actually. So it's pretty cool how we are still connected. And through that, I got involved in a lot of local politics. I got to meet with a variety of different climate organizations. We would take students to the Capitol to lobby for environmental legislation. We got to meet with different candidates, members from the OPPD board. We partnered with the Sierra Club, the Citizens Climate Lobby Organization. And so that's what really made me get involved and helped me get my foot in the door into Nebraska climate change efforts. One cool thing that I was able to do was get composting started at my high school, which was Omaha South High School. From there, we were able to divert 54,000 pounds of waste from the landfill every single year. So this was a really big effort for me because my high school was the biggest in all of Omaha public schools. It was predominantly Hispanic, and overall, we didn't really have that many, I guess, like student or teacher-led efforts for climate change. I also started the Green Club because we didn't have one. So being able to start that there was really important, and from there we were able to get it started at Central High School, which is the second largest Omaha public school as well. So yeah, that's kind of how I got involved in climate change and what really made me interested and makes me want to keep going and fighting for this effort. I guess now we could talk about some efforts that we're working on now as students. I'll let Evalina go first.
So as I said before, I'm part of Students for Sustainability. We have some members here in the back table. But yeah, Students for Sustainability is an organization. It's a regional organization across Nebraska, and it consists of youth that belong to high schools like Bellevue. We have people from Bellevue, the Omaha Public School District. We have private school members. And yeah, we essentially all come together and work with community organizations to advance environmental efforts. So one thing we do, like Mia mentioned, is in the summer we go to Washington, D.C. We actually fundraise through this aid from external community organizations. We are able to fundraise and sponsor a trip to Washington, D.C. to lobby with Citizens Climate Lobby. And if you don't know what lobbying is, it is essentially talking to political representatives about an issue that you're passionate about. And it's really exciting because it just proves how impactful your voice can be, because these politicians, they truly do want to listen to people, especially the youth, because that's who determines our future. That's who votes for them. So they really are catering to like the wants of the public. And even now in this upcoming election, climate change has been such an essential issue for voters. We're seeing rises in like all statistics across the board showing that voters want to see action on climate change. And it's honestly a little bit devastating because environmentalists are one of the most leading groups that do not show up to the polls. So really mobilizing environmental voters is so essential. And our school right now, Omaha Central, we've been leading mobilization efforts in voting. We've been educating students on how to vote, the different processes, and even if you can't vote, how to get others you know involved in that voting process. Sorry, my mouth's dry. But yes, so we've done educational presentations. We've hosted booths with the League of Women Voters to educate voters, get them registered. In the future, we hope to return to Washington, D.C. once again this summer. And yes, just continuously pushing on the policy side for educating and securing climate votes.
So here at UNL, I'm a member of Sustain UNL, and I also stay active with Citizens Climate Lobby. As Evalina had said, all three of us actually were able to go to DC this past summer and lobby there, which was just a really amazing experience. And so coming up, we have different efforts to divert waste in UNL. Especially in like dining halls. There's also just so much there's so many things getting started with Sustain, and really on that small scale, lobbying local leaders. Of course, the Nebraska legislature will be starting up in January, and so we will be involved with that in ensuring and fighting for policy in Nebraska that is able to benefit the climate and keep from further harming it.
So in my 2 different positions that I have on campus, there are a couple different efforts that I'm working on. So I am also a part of Sustain UNL, like Jacki. I'm the outreach liaison. So through that effort, I organize different volunteer efforts. So this last Sunday, we had a stream cleanup where we cleaned up Antelope Stream, which is right by the Hub Cafe, which is pretty close to campus. And then another thing that I'm working on is doing a documentary screening night. It's a documentary about renewable agriculture. So we're hoping to partner with the College of Agriculture at UNL to try to get everybody connected in that sense. And then I am also a sustainability ambassador for the Office of Sustainability. So I do a couple different efforts. My main goal is to get students at the university connected with what the office is doing. Our big efforts are the All in the Hall recycling program. So if you go out in the hallway, you'll see it there, which is really just a unified recycling program because we found that throughout campus there wasn't like a unified program, so a lot of waste was getting recycled incorrectly. And through that, we do different audits. So we'll go through all the trash, we'll organize it, we'll see, well, students are really good at recycling paper, but there's a lot of plastic in here that wasn't cleaned correctly, so now it has to go to the landfill. So we do different tabling efforts, try to get students informed on all the issues that are on and around campus. And then one thing that I am doing on my own personal time is just research on the effects of pollution from meatpacking plants. I recently learned that Nebraska is home to, it contributes I think it's the third most pollutants from meatpacking plants, especially in more rural areas. So that's something that's really near and dear to my heart. As I previously stated, I'm from South Omaha. There's a meatpacking plant there. It produces tons of pollution every single day that not only affects the environment, but it affects the workers there, which most of the time are immigrant workers who don't know their rights. A lot of times they may not even speak English very well. And so I think that's something that's really important, and it's an issue that not a lot of people are talking about enough. So those are just some things that I'm involved in on campus and in my own life.
Okay, so if anyone has questions, we're going to open it up for questions now. Yeah, we'd love to answer whatever you guys are wondering about.
We got one right here.
I was just wondering if you had any advice for some of the younger students in the room to get as involved as the three of you seem to be in stuff like this. I know that when I was in high school in LPS, sometimes it seemed like a lot of this stuff wasn't out there. So I just wanted to know if you guys had any tips and tricks.
Yes, of course. So I know we're up here stating like everything we've done for the environment, everything we're involved in, and it can be a tad intimidating, but just know that any contribution you make to the environment, any advocacy you are involved in does matter, no matter how big, no matter how small. So don't ever feel like this is daunting. But yes, so some things I recommend is organizational clubs. So I know not all schools offer this, but especially if you're an OPS, starting a club is accessible. You can start a club, you can found a club, go to your administrator if there is not already one established at your school, but getting a community together where you can connect and collaborate and form ideas and really pursue those is so essential. Like that's the foundation of all advocacy and all action. So I would say really getting involved in clubs or community organizations as well. There's youth community organizations like Students for Sustainability. You can join Students for Sustainability. But yes, really exploring those opportunities and yes, found a club.
I think the biggest thing that I would say is honestly like you're here right now, so like that's a great starting point. Like I was an attendee of this conference for 2 years, didn't ever expect to be up here. Like I don't know, I just was doing things on my own, like, and then I don't know, eventually ended up on a panel, but like we all started where you are. And so like we get it. And so like if you have any questions, especially about your area, you can like please come up and talk to us. We would love to talk to you. And also like you can like find opportunities where you are. And I think that's something that like it doesn't have to be obvious. Like my senior year of high school, I really wanted to take an environmental science class, but my school didn't offer one. But I knew that that was what I was going to go into. And so I just Googled like how to do it. And I ended up, I independent studied for the AP Environmental Science test, and I passed. So like I have college things. I have college credit that's going to transfer into my degree now. But yeah, you don't have to, it doesn't have to be a part of a huge organization. It can really be like what you're interested in. If you just like talk to people and make connections, that's one thing that can really help to get into like specifically what you're interested in.
I second everything they have said. One thing that really helped me get involved is I just started going to anything that I could possibly get my foot in the door on. I know, like, so when I joined Students for Sustainability, I saw a girl post a flyer of a climate strike they were having my sophomore year of high school. I went by myself. I didn't know anybody. From there, I, like, met one person in Sustain. in SFS, and then I started going to their meetings. I got more involved. I was able to make connections, and then I was on the board. And so it's really just kind of like a domino effect of like, go do something out of your comfort zone. Go to that, maybe it's a Zoom call about some online conference, or maybe it's a meeting at your school. Even if it's uncomfortable, even if you don't have any of your friends to go with, it's really important because you can make connections and you can start to get involved and you can see what you like and what you don't like.
All right, more questions? I'll get some more students on this side.
How do you get involved with Students for Sustainability?
Yes, that's a great question. So we're predominantly on Instagram, and our tag is at Omaha SFS. We have a form in our bio that you can sign up, and we'll send you an email. We have our weekly meetings at the UNO Chris Library. So we're not in Lincoln, we're actually in Omaha, but we could also make accommodations. You could join virtually. We also have members that just attend our events. So we have an upcoming event in November where we're hosting a sustainable pop-up market. Our tag is like Leaf Fall Fast Fashion behind. Thank you. Yes, and then aside from that, we're also hosting like a concert in January. We just have many events. We also have a climate strike. So yes, you can just attend the events. You can contribute to our weekly meetings. You could work virtually maybe on like graphic design, but we really welcome all members in high school. And yes, we would love to have you join. Look us up on Instagram, please.
All right, who else had their hand up?
Are your schedules really busy because of everything you guys do?
Yeah, I will say, I will say, like, it's not, like, if you, like, for me specifically, like, I like to be busy. Like, I enjoy, like, having a full schedule. And, like, obviously that isn't for everyone. And you can, like, it's not necessary to be busy and also, like, be an environmentalist. Like, I mean, honestly, just, like, thrifting with your friends is like a great way to like low key like implement like good environmental like culture within your friend group and like do something good yourself. And so it really like you don't have to start a composting program. Like it doesn't have to be that much work. And really like small things can add up. And so yeah, I would just say like yes, but that's like a personal choice. Like it doesn't have to be that way.
Also, I think we're all very passionate about the environment, passionate about what we do for it. So I can speak for myself when I say I enjoy everything that I do. I enjoy attending meetings. I enjoy collaborating with SFS and seeing all of my lovely members every single week. And I enjoy all of our events. But yes, it doesn't need to be, you don't need to attend everything. You don't need to be doing everything. Just contribute what you can. And yeah, get involved to the degree that you are capable. I would also say that, like Jackie said, just reiterating, there are more minimal ways that you can be involved, such as thrifting or gardening, cooking, just so many different small steps you can take towards helping the environment. Implement composting at your home. That's another step you can make in involving your family into that as well. But yes.
Okay, from my perspective, how many of you have ever felt climate anxiety? Just like raise your hand. Okay, so I know sometimes it can feel very overwhelming and it can feel like I need to be on this committee, I need to go to this meeting, I need to start research on this, and you kind of feel behind and maybe like really overwhelmed because climate change is a lot and we all want to tackle it independently, but that's unrealistic. So one thing that I've definitely learned is that even though I am involved in a lot of different organizations and areas, it's really important to prioritize yourself and your well-being first because you can only help the planet and other people so much when you are not helping yourself. So definitely, like, we are busy, but I know that we all try to prioritize school because through our degrees we can help even more. I know, like, I want to be an environmental engineer, so that takes a lot of my time and energy. But I just have to remind myself that that is, my purpose right now is to go to school, to get an education, and then I can further use that education to help the planet. So it can be very overwhelming sometimes. We all have had climate anxiety. But really just, making sure we're staying organized, we're managing our time, and we're taking time for ourselves. That will really help you out to make you feel not so overwhelmed.
All right, we got one more question.
Yeah, in general, older people aren't as concerned about climate change as younger people, but younger people in general don't vote as much as older people. Speak for just a minute about voting.
Yes, so I'm sure you know that everyone knows that voting's important, right? We show up to the polls. It's your civic obligation to contribute that portion to our democracy. And so for young people, I know a lot of us are probably not 18 and cannot vote yet, but there are different aspects. There are still different ways that you can be involved, like lobbying or like writing postcards to your senators or like on different policies that you're passionate about. There are many events also hosted, at least I know in Omaha, that do engage young people on the policy aspect. I know that the the Urban Abbey hosts many events to educate voters, and in collaboration with another organization called Elevate Omaha. But they host events educating young people on different policy that's currently circulating in the legislation. And then also, if you are 18 or are about to be 18, just know that voting is so critical, especially at this point in your life, because the youth, we are the emerging generation of voters. Right now, there are 40 million young voters eligible in this election to contribute their voices, their vote. And these politicians will be listening because we do change the proportion of the issues that people are passionate about because we're the new voters. We're contributing new statistics, and we can really sway what issues are most important to us, and one of those can be the climate, the environment. So yes. Also, just talk to your family, tell them why you're passionate about the environment. I know maybe our views don't necessarily align with our family at all times, but you can still have discussions with people in your family or people beyond that, and educate why they should be voting, why they should consider the climate when they are voting. Yes.
Okay, I think that's all the time we have.
Let's give it a round for this panel.